Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I'm owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. One of the things that can be really frustrating for clients is if I point out to them that they may be feeling especially vulnerable due to something going on in their lives. We often like to assume that we are operating in our highest self. I'm in my prefrontal cortex, I'm just fully engaged, I'm making clear and discerning decisions. Friends, a lot of times we might be, but often when there's a transition afoot, there's some limbic system activity that happens. And limbic system, we're talking about that fight or flight, that amygdala, it gets poked at when we're in a transition sometimes, especially when we're doing pretty significant stretches in life. So one of the things I'm getting to do right now as I'm preparing for the dissertation process and as I'm starting to write down some of my literature, looking at transitions is the area of study that I'll be doing, and I'll be looking at it specifically in the context of clinical health mental education. So going into one of the programs that I'm working in and studying what is happening in transitions. And one of the things I'm studying specifically is what are our defense mechanisms that show up when there's a transition happening. And the literature tells us that it is common, if not quite predictable, that our more immature defense function shows up as we try something new. And then the more we do it, there's this defensive restructuring that happens, and I become more mature in my responses as I continue doing something. And I can study that. I can study the phenomena of a defense mechanism, and I can watch someone get stronger over time as they go through a program. So I can watch, when I started the doc program, I can watch first year Stephanie and compare her to second year Stephanie and third year Stephanie and see significant difference in my defensive functioning because there's a maturation that's happening. It happens in our personality, it happens in our felt sense of connection with others, it grows over time. But when we start something new, there's this vulnerability that shows up, especially if I'm doing something significant, because I'm stepping away from something that I was confident in, or at least that was functional and it was working. I'm letting go of that. I'm entering this neutral space or this liminal space where something new is happening, but I can't quite name it. And then I'm stepping towards the new beginning and going through the growth steps of something new and possibly something significant. And we've talked about that, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's a new geographic shift, if it's a new job, if it's a new school program, if it's new to adult singleness, if it's after a significant loss. Some defensiveness is common and some immaturity is quite common. And so if I say to a client like, I wonder why that particular behavior or habit showed up here, what's going on as you transition into this new phase? Because remember, that's the area I'm working in quite often, going through life transitions. What might you be experiencing where you're feeling more vulnerable, or you're feeling less certain, less sturdy? And so some of this defensive functioning or some of these old habits are showing up again. Friends, not only is it common, we will mature as we go through the motions of showing up in this new space that we're deciding we want to occupy and that we're practicing. Or maybe we haven't decided we want to occupy it, but it's our new reality and we're stepping towards it. That immaturity, and I've used that language before, immature doesn't mean childish. Sometimes it can. But when I say immaturity, I'm saying not yet mature, because we get maturity through repetitions and practice over time. So my mature self comes from my immature functioning getting stronger over time after I try new things, but that immature functioning comes first. That's okay, that's normal. And if we're finding ourselves in a transition and we're particularly sensitive or prickly, or we're I said sensitive, not defensive, but that shows up too. It's just part and parcel of risk and stretching and trying new things. So I really work with people on normalizing it, naming it, and saying, you know what, over time, I bet that this thing that's frustrating you, this defensiveness or this sensitivity, I think over time, if you keep showing up in your life, it actually matures in pretty cool ways. And whatever you're becoming, it keeps taking shape, and that's exciting. But we're not surprised when the vulnerable side shows up, the insecure side shows up, the uncertain side shows up. It's part and parcel of trying new things.